Hello, YouTube. This is Ben Gessel. How's it going? I think this is the 12th video I posted. I'm posting. Today is the 19th of uh, um, September 2016. I'm going to be talking a little bit in this video about teaching French horn. More especially a lot of the methods that I use for younger students. Um, of course, if you might have seen a few of my other videos, I also teach music composition and piano. Music composition at a very high level, essentially pre-professional, and on down, and then piano only up to about early advanced, really. So horn falls somewhere in the middle, where I can teach some more advanced students, but and certainly better at the horn than the piano, but still not quite really where my abilities are with composition in a way. But so let's just go through some of these books. And again, a lot of horn teachers, I think in general that it goes without saying that uh, there are, for all the piano teachers out there, for instance, there's probably for every 100 of them, there's probably 90, easily, I'd say 95% or more of them that are decent piano players, but maybe don't necessarily have either one a degree in piano performance or pedagogy, or if they do, even if they have maybe say a grad degree, they're not really as elite performers. So, there's just a huge number of piano teachers that are um, but more geared toward teaching beginners, very young beginners, folks that haven't had any musical experience whatsoever. For instance, horn teachers tend to be a little different, and like many other instruments aside from piano, guitar being some of the instruments are more fundamental type instruments. Horn teachers tend to be fewer in number, but also we tend to get the horn is just much more brutal instrument for beginners to start out on, or kids. Really, it's anybody younger than 12 that starts to play horn needs to be incredibly, in my opinion, quite bright to really be more successful in the horn. It's a very some people say like the oboe bassoon. Yes, it's more unforgiving. I don't always enjoy. Well, it's just not a very accurate comparison sometimes to compare the horn with double reeds. At the same time, it is accurate. But the thing is well, for instance, double reed players and teachers, so much of what they do is just involving reed making and reed shaping, and so they always have the reeds with their knives, and they need to be among the folks who take the best care of their instruments. Horn players maybe are similar in some respects, but we spend a lot of time on flexibility and accuracy and embouchure and just playing very precisely. We just have very small pockets, very small windows between each partial. We can play over a dozen pitches on one fingering easily. So, well, yeah. So it's important to mention these things because if there's I imagine the folks watching this video are going to be more horn teachers, obviously, that are starting out, or that maybe are college folks, or maybe even in high school and considering teaching horn. And so they just want some additional information. But the reason I compare, again, piano instruction and instructors with horn is because there's such a difference regarding the level that of musician that one needs to be really to teach one instrument effectively versus the other. It's really not a whole lot different, but it's just that again, there's just a large number of folks that teach piano for very young students, and there's also a very large number of piano teachers that are so they do fine for what they do, but again, teaching horn is just it's more perhaps more specialized, and it just has it's so not only do you get the older students that are starting out in horn, but you have the teachers. I think are really need to be much more on the ball with what they're doing, and what it's a it can be a tricky kind of thing to teach horn effectively. So again, talk about a little bit with this video about some methods and maybe a few other related things. So for the youngest, we'll say for the absolute beginner, someone just starting out playing horn, especially if they haven't had a piano lessons or any theory lessons, I'll definitely recommend that they work on Alfred's Note Speller or some book along those lines. Also, I want students to kind of increase their theory knowledge a little bit. But we're talking, again, very beginners. I don't stress theory, or I don't, it's a mandatory. It's not a mandatory thing past a certain point unless a student has more interest in theory, and that's perhaps a whole different situation. But so some of these books are more just solos, others are more etudes, that sort of thing. There's, for instance, a really easy horn book it has really easy solos, and I definitely give it to students who are like 5th grade, 6th grade, thereabouts, folks that just really are struggling just to play middle C versus E and G, and we're just working on these very, very small range of notes. Well, of course, I'll use Rubenk Elementary method. It's not my preferred method, but I've used it. Maxime-Alphonse, not as much recently. Maxime-Alphonse books can be very tricky. Like Hope Roche, there's different editions and different. You want to be very careful. You want to make sure that you get the book that you want. There's different editions and different. Some of these books, especially for horn, like piano that has. There's certainly books like this for piano, but yeah. So if you know that you want your student to work on a certain book of exercises, just be very as specific as possible, or even order it yourself and then have the parents pay you back. And make sure that the one that you're getting or they're getting is the one they need. Often it's the case that I've had students do this, that they get not quite the right book or not quite the right method, and it's just the wrong. It's just a different edition. Yeah, a little frustrating. We work on a lot of books, so Pottag-Hovey book 1, Rubenk Elementary, Getchell Practical Studies is great to get started on after they've got their feet wet a little bit. There's other books that I think work out pretty well for like tunes for horn technique. There's a few levels like Getchell that are great for younger students. But by the time you get more the intermediate range of playing, looking at more at Mason Jones, Canadian Brass, Concert Contest collection of solos, looking at perhaps parascales a little bit, maybe it's more advanced, in between the intermediate advanced and right in that range. You can start introducing the art of horn playing for like serious students, any serious student who's really that can start even when they're intermediate. And again, this is just there's so many more methods to horn than I'm mentioning here. These are just some of the big ones. And again, Pottag-Hovey book 2, right when you're getting into that later stage of intermediate-ish area, on up to through advanced. With Pottag-Hovey, of course, this goes without saying for again the folks that are more experienced in these things. It's just that the beginning and middle parts of the book are, I think, a little bit more used. Uh, ending part is a little redundant. You might say the same thing about Getchell. The Getchell studies, though, I think are great with in reinforcing just playing in a smaller range, but getting down kind of the 16th note coordination, tonguing, that sort of thing. Playing 16th notes. So of course there's more difficult etudes that I might talk about more in the future. Kobrash and Hackelman, low horn, and Gallet 12 studies, just the tip of the iceberg. And Shoemaker, of course, being more intermediate, but getting into advanced a little bit. So, but that's just a few books to check out. I think again, all since there's so few horn students out there, and there's so few horn teachers, a lot of times, and I'm going to say this for myself, it does take a little bit. Well, it's just a different. It's a different kind of thing than teaching piano sometimes. Teaching piano, you can become a master at teaching beginners and intermediates a little bit quicker, just because you'll have more students a lot of times, because you're teaching more students. With teaching horn, unless you have a full horn studio, especially if you're, I don't know, professors, certainly would be this case a lot of times. But if you're teaching, if you're fortunate enough to be teaching in the teens to 20-something plus horn students, you get to that point, you'll especially whether it's beginner intermediates or a little more advanced folks, you'll get there. But I think it generally takes a bit longer. I think for horn teachers to really feel like they know fully what they're doing, or you can. It's and again, I'm speaking from my own personal standpoint. The piano is so it's just a different beast, for instance, and I've always felt like it's just in terms of simply playing accurately, horn is so demanding. It takes the utmost concentration, and this is one of the hardest things, of course, with beginners on the horn. It's that they just don't have a lot of times the mental faculty. Some physical things, of course, sure, but they don't. It can be very demanding. It requires a very, very steady stream of air to keep playing one particular note without wobbling to a different note. You have to know precisely where those different pockets, those different pitches lie on the instrument. You have to spend a lot of time and working on those kinds of things and other things. So anything else in the subject just for this video? So some of these books, like Tunes for Horn Technique, Rubank, Pottag-Hovey, they should be very easily found. There's solos, for instance, that are going to be very easy to find for teachers. The Mozart horn concertos, Richard Strauss, Concerto Number 1, Beethoven Sonata. These are very, Nocturne. These are very easy to find. There are again many European methods, many other methods. Is David Clevenger method, and some other methods that may be a bit older. Solos that are harder to find, of course. The same thing would apply to the other instrument, but on the horn, we often, it's a bit more. It can be trickier to find sometimes books that you want your students to work on. So I've had success with Sheet Music Plus. They're pretty good. There's certainly other places as well. Wood and Brass Wind I haven't used as much. I haven't used Amazon as much. Mainly again Sheet Music Plus is one of my preferred places to go to. Um, so hopefully this helps a little bit. I know this is kind of an overview, quick overview. So I think there's a professor. It's in Arizona, John Erickson, that has just a ton of different things on his webpage. And I would check out his website. I'll try putting some links here in this video to check out some of these things as well. All right, I will catch you later, guys. Take care. Have a good day.